Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today for our 2024 State of the Latino Community. Our focus is going to be on updates on the asylum seekers, relocations, and integration into our community. My name is Angelica Perez Delgado, and I get the great pleasure of being the president and CEO of Ibero American Action League. I'm going to give some brief instructions for those who may be looking for Spanish interpretation. Make sure you get the interpretation symbol on the right-hand lower corner of your Zoom taskbar. And although the chat will be disabled, you are able to ask questions by going to the left bottom of the taskbar and selecting the chat option, and there will be a Q&A option there. For many of you guys, you know that Ibero's mission is as a dual language multi-service agency is to uplift, empower, and advocate Latinos and the underserved. And our vision is to advance social progress and inclusion for Latinos in New York State by the end of the decade. And all of that will hopefully resonate with you today as we review updates from our recent effort and some of the work that we get to lead in community today. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, ESL, Wegmans, Trillium, Climate Solutions Accelerator, Excellus, Visions Federal Credit Union, WXXI, and our very own Poder 97.1. Thank you so much for sponsoring our virtual event today. And hopefully everyone was able to get some food. And if you haven't, please make sure that you pick some up today. You get 10% off today from our restaurant sponsors. So put your order in if you have not done so. We are featuring the Mi Tierra, which is our very own entrepreneur incubating restaurants at the International Plaza, our friends at Saucy Chef, Elevated Sol, and Que Chévere, and thank them all for supporting our virtual luncheon today and being so willing to provide everyone a delicious meal. So hopefully everyone will get to enjoy their discount code. And today we'll get to hear an invocation from Father Ruiz. We'll hear from several of our dignitaries, and we'll have several keynote speakers, including Ramón, who couldn't be with us today, but did share a recording, and our very own Cassandra Bocanegra from the New York Immigration Coalition. We'll get to hear one of the stories from one of our migrant relocation assistance program participants, and I'll get to share some data with you all about the effort that we are leading and have been leading for the past year and a half. And then we'll get to present our community awards to our wonderful recipients this year that are definitely in high regard in our community and well deserving of such recognition. So before we move on to the invocation, I just want to take an opportunity to introduce Father Ruiz. For those of you guys, hopefully a lot of you guys have had the pleasure of meeting Father Ruiz. He is the first appointed Latino priest to oversee the St. Francis Xavier Cabrini parishes, which include St. Michael. Father Ruiz has brought with him a renewed optimism and has executed so many close partnerships to ensure that the St. Michael's campus remains open. He has played a key role in welcoming our migrant families here in Monroe County. And he has such an amazing and great vision, one that he often refers to as an empire of hope after the great St. Francis Cabrini. This can be seen every day on our campus if you've gotten the pleasure to visit us and see the amazing work that Father Ruiz is leading in our community. And here at Ibero, we are honored to be a critical and integral partner and work closely with Father Ruiz. Ibero has called St. Michael is home for over 2 years now, and this is a partnership between the Catholic Diocese, Ibero American Action League, and Rochester Hope that has brought over $1 million worth of resources to the St. Michael's campus and really help anchor the neighborhood and the future of the St. Michael's campus. So we're very excited to be a part of that and be able to work closely with Father Ruiz. Father Ruiz, just like Ibero, is about getting things done. So I will ask Father Ruiz to unmute, share a few words, and then lead us in prayer. Father?
Angie, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. It is a great honor to be with you today. It has been a privilege over the last 3 years to develop a partnership and relationship with Ibero and so many others in the community, and to work closely in this effort to welcome and relocate the asylum seekers. And I am always humbled by how many people are willing to go the extra mile to really help them build a life for themselves. I know that no effort is perfect, but I do know that we're all committed and doing the very best that we can for them. And so, in that spirit, I would like to offer a very short invocation for us all today. Loving God, millions of brothers and sisters are on the move around the world, not by choice, but by desperation. We encounter their stories in the news and their faces in members of our own communities. We pray that we may lead the way to bring about God's vision of peace and justice to all, and hope and love to those on the move near and far. For those forced to flee violence, we pray they find safety. For those seeking economic opportunity, we pray they find secure livelihoods. For those trying to support and protect their families, we pray they find communities to embrace them. For those searching for peace and hope, we pray that we may be bearers of the good news. We are called to be prophetic advocates in this world, to call out injustice and to be heralds of truth and love. We pray that all migrants, refugees, and displaced persons may find safe and loving communities and the opportunity to thrive. And we pray that we may have the courage to stand and act in defense of human dignity for all our brothers and sisters in need. Amen.
Thank you so much, Father. Today we have a message from our very own Malik Evans, Mayor of the City of Rochester. Malik could not join us today as he's away, but he sent a video message for us to share with the rest of you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the Ibero American Action League for inviting me to speak at this year's State of the Latino Community Luncheon. I'm honored to join you virtually for this important conversation on immigration, and especially on asylum seekers, an issue that resonates not only in Rochester, but across our nation and our world. I want to begin by recognizing the incredible work of Ibero in supporting and empowering our Latino community. For decades, you have been at the forefront of efforts to ensure that individuals and families have the resources they need to thrive. Today's topic, immigration, updates on asylum seekers, relocation, and integration into new communities, is a testament to Ibero's commitment to addressing some of the most pressing issues of our time. Immigration and asylum are not just political topics. They are human stories, stories of hope, of families seeking safety, and of the communities like Rochester welcoming new members with open arms. Over the past few years, we have witnessed a significant influx of asylum seekers into cities across the country, including right here in New York State. These are individuals who have left everything behind in search of safety, freedom, and a better future for their families. And I am proud to say that our city has always been a sanctuary, a welcoming place for immigrants and asylum seekers from every corner of the world. This spirit of openness is woven into the very fabric of who we are, whether fleeing persecution, economic hardship, or violence, people have come here looking for a fresh start, and we have embraced them. From our early days as a city built by immigrant labor to the diversity that enriches our community today, Rochester has always been a place where people from all walks of life can plant their roots and grow. Rochester is very blessed to have organizations like Ibero, the Rochester City School District, Catholic Family Center, and so many others who excel at integrating new arrivals into our community. It is through these partnerships that our city thrives. Together, we are working to ensure that those seeking refuge are given the opportunity to integrate into our community, find stable housing, access education, and contribute to the local economy. This work is not easy, but it is necessary, and it is possible when we come together. Our city is committed to doing its part to facilitate successful integration and to ensure that Rochester remains a place where diversity is celebrated. We know that welcoming new residents enriches our culture, strengthens our economy, and reaffirms our shared humanity. However, this journey is not without its challenges. Housing, language barriers, and access to services remain significant obstacles for many asylum seekers. We must be intentional in our efforts to address these issues, ensuring that no one is left behind. As we continue to collaborate with state and federal partners and with organizations like Ibero, our priority remains clear: to create pathways to success for asylum seekers and ensure they can build fulfilling, dignified lives here in Rochester. Today's event is not just a discussion, it is a call to action. The work of integrating new community members is ongoing, and it takes resources. I want to personally thank all of you for supporting this fundraiser. For your generosity will help Ibero continue their mission of building a stronger, more inclusive community. We know that Rochester is strongest when we lift each other up, and Ibero has been doing that for decades. Your commitment, your vision, and your compassion are inspiring, and I look forward to continuing this partnership as we work to make Rochester a welcoming home for all. Together, we will continue to uphold Rochester's legacy as a city that welcomes, supports, and empowers those seeking refuge in a brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor, for those wonderful message. And now we'll hear from our Honorable Adam J. Bello, Monroe County Executive. Adam could not join us today, but has also sent a video message for us to share with you all.
Hello, everyone. I'm Monroe County Executive Adam Bello. Thank you, Angie Perez Delgado, your entire team at Ibero Action League, for your years of partnership, service, and tireless advocacy to our Latinx community. Our county is stronger and more inclusive thanks to the contributions of our Latinx residents from both public and private sectors. And today's award recipients are perfect examples of that. So congratulations to Yesenia Ramos Torres, Maria Esther Sanchez, and Maria Delgado Sutton for your service to our community. And thank you to Ibero and so many other organizations for your significant partnership with Monroe County, with the common goal of making our county a more inclusive, welcoming, and thriving place for our Latinx residents. Throughout history, Monroe County has been a place where individuals and families make their homes in pursuit of the American dream. Whether it's a better way of life for families, job opportunities, or a place to feel safe and seek refuge, our county has been an example of a great place for families to live and thrive. In 2023, New York City saw an unprecedented influx of asylum seekers from all over the world. It created ripple effects throughout the state, including here in Monroe County. While many counties sought to illegally try to ban asylum seekers, we chose a different path, a compassionate, humane approach that worked for those seeking a new life and for county residents already impacted by the affordable housing shortage. I issued an executive order allowing New York City to contract with local hotels. However, we required a clear, structured plan from New York City, reviewed and approved by our Department of Human Services. We required New York City to make sure asylum seekers had access to essential services such as food, shelter, healthcare, and had their personal needs already planned and paid for. The goal was to avoid a chaotic scramble for services and to treat families with the dignity and respect that they deserve as they waited for resolution to their asylum claims. We also had to ensure our residents in need of the same services had continued access and priority. To do this, we knew we had to tap into the resources of our really amazing, caring, and dedicated community organizations for their help, leadership, and commitment. thanks to our multidisciplinary approach and strong partnerships with Ibero, the Western New York Coalition of Farm Workers Serving Agencies, the City of Rochester, and many others, our comprehensive approach was a success. To date, 97 asylum-seeking families that were located here from New York City as part of the emergency order have been placed in permanent housing. There are no remaining families at the Holiday Inn downtown. Monroe County has had the most successful approach in the state, and so much so that we've become a model for other communities. Our success speaks to the strength of our planning and partnerships, as well as our commitment to treating all people with dignity and care. So I want to thank Mayor Evans and the City of Rochester, Ibero, Western New York Coalition of Farm Workers Serving Agencies, and partners in law enforcement and other county departments and the dozens of service agencies we partnered with for helping us provide additional services for asylum-seeking families and children. We continue to support Ibero in its mission to uplift our Latinx community by investing in programs and services directly to benefiting our neighborhoods. Just last month, I joined Ibero for the grand opening of the new Centro de Oro Senior Center behind the historic St. Michael's Hall in Rochester. Our senior community relies on the center as a crucial resource, and we take pride in supplying new kitchen equipment and other necessary investments to guarantee its ability to serve all program participants. Our Office of the Aging will continue to support Centro de Oro, ensuring that older adults are fed and connected to resources for a better quality of life. In addition, Monroe County, in partnership with Together Now and the Father Tracy Advocacy Center, recently completed our Community Integration Initiative pilot. Through this pilot program, our goal is to assist people applying for public benefits, providing information and answering questions by taking our services directly to where they live. This pilot is just the beginning of our commitment to bridging gaps in access to services. I firmly believe that the more we collaborate with our nonprofit and private sector partners, the stronger Monroe County becomes for every resident, regardless of race, gender, or zip code. I look forward to continuing this important work and deepening our commitment to the Latinx and Hispanic communities. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, County Exec Adam Bello. I also want to take this opportunity before we hear from Jeremy to thank our partners at the Department of Health and Human Services, Commissioner Talia Wright and Denise Reed and her team, and the Western New York Immigration Coalition, who collaborated closely with us as we led this monumental effort here in Monroe County and set an example for the rest of New York State. So now we'll hear a message from our Senator, Jeremy Cooney of the 56th District. He could not join us today, but he sent a message to share with you all.
Hi, everyone. This is Senator Jeremy Cooney. I'm so glad to join with you online to wish you all a very successful State of the Latinx Community Luncheon. I first want to thank Angie Perez Delgado, a Senate woman of distinction from my colleague, Senator Brooke, and the incredible team at Ibero for not only putting together today's event, but for all the work you do to empower our Latino community. The theme of this year's luncheon is immigration and the integration of asylum seekers into new communities. And I can think of no better community to host this discussion than Rochester. We are a community that prides itself on our diversity, but also our inclusion. But we know there's more work to be done. Helping asylum seekers feel at home in Rochester and across New York State requires a holistic approach. It means promoting job opportunities, breaking down language barriers, and investing in public transportation. That's why today's luncheon is so important. Even though there's more work ahead, as an immigrant myself, I strongly believe in the power of our community to embrace new neighbors and make them feel part of our incredible city and state. So thank you again for making today a reality. Congratulations to all of our awardees, and I look forward to continuing this vital conversation.
Thank you so much, Senator Cooney. And now we get to hear in person, joining us today in our virtual luncheon from Senator Sam Rob Brooke. Senator, you can unmute and join us.
Buenas tardes. Can you see me? Good. Okay,
Yes.
great. Wonderful. Thank you all so much for having me here. As Angie said, I'm Senator Samra Brook from the 55th District and also the proud chair of the Mental Health Committee. And I echo what my colleagues have already said in their messages, just how important the focus on this luncheon is on immigration and updating on asylum seekers, relocation, and keyword integration into our communities. It's really centering the challenges and experiences that we know so many new migrants and asylum seekers are facing, not just in our community and in our state, but in our country. And as a daughter of someone who fled their country during wartime and came and found a place to integrate and find community here in Western New York, I take this very, very seriously and personally. And when I think about new migrants and asylum seekers, I'm thinking about entire families, right? Entire families that have to pick up their homes, move to new, unfamiliar communities to restart their lives. And I think about what systems are in place to ease those transitions and what systems we have yet to create. And so in my capacity, I really strive to create justice for our working families, funding community organizations that give this culturally competent resources and care to our marginalized community members. I was proud to recently award $50,000 for Ibero's Smart Recovery Program, which is the only program of its kind here in Rochester that provides mutual peer support specialists in the Spanish language, especially for individuals recovering from addiction. We really need to make sure that we are meeting people where they are, and we need to support more programs and services like that of Ibero to center this kind of peer support and hire the individuals with lived experience who can actually engage with our local community. We need to continue fostering a welcoming environment for migrants and asylum seekers who are seeking a better life. And this is absolutely critical work as we move forward. Migrant families are mothers, their fathers, children, grandparents fleeing danger, not causing it, because they, as well as everyone in this community, want safety, stability, and the opportunity to improve all of our livelihoods. To that end, I hope that everyone on this call and in our larger Rochester community can all commit to bringing the resources that have proven to improve quality of life for our asylum seekers, for our new community members, and for those who are already in our community by including funding and pushed resources for education, healthcare, affordable housing, and of course, mental health access. I know that this is a group that can do it, and we can create the welcoming community that every individual deserves. So muchísimas gracias for having me here today, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of this luncheon and the incredible work that you do. Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Ibero.
Thank you so much, Senator, for always supporting the work that we do here at Ibero. And right now we'll hear from our very own Assembly District member from District 137, Damon Meeks, who will come off mute and share a few words with us.
Greetings, Angie, and to the whole Ibero team. I want to say thank you for this opportunity to offer remarks for today's 2024 State of the Latino Community Annual Virtual Luncheon. I am Assemblyman Damon Meeks, representing the 137th Assembly District for the state of New York. As the state assemblyman representing the majority of the city of Rochester and the town of Gates, I am grateful to have and to support an organization like Ibero American Action League in my district. Ibero provides numerous programs and services for the members of our community that help our families reach their highest potential. I am especially grateful for Ibero's care management services, their diversity, equity, and inclusion services, as well as their tireless dedication to our children and elders. Furthermore, Ibero has played an integral role in assisting asylum seekers throughout our community through their extensive language access and relocation services. It is an honor to be able to represent Ibero American Action League at the state level. I remain committed to advocating for funding and resources that will allow Ibero to continue carrying out their mission in Rochester and beyond. Thank you all, and I look forward to today's discussion.
Thank you so much, Assembly Member Damon Meeks. We have the wrong picture on the slide, but we appreciate Josh Beams, who works with us closely as the Senior Policy Analyst at Albany County. For those of you guys who don't know, we get to do this amazing work, not just here in Monroe County, but also in Albany County with our great partners there. And the one that I want to actually introduce is we have the Deputy Executive of Albany County joining us today to share some words. We have Michael McCullen. Michael, are you able to come off mute?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, there goes Mike's wonderful face. Him and Josh are like two peas in a pod and partners in the cause. So my forgiveness, Mike, for not having the correct picture, but we work very closely with the both of you guys. So I'll give you the space to share a few words with us.
If I'm being honest, I want his picture up there anyway, so that's fine. That actually works out rather well. So thank you very much, Angie. Yes. Thank you to everybody. I'm Deputy Albany County Executive Mike McLaughlin. It's my pleasure to be here and give everybody a few remarks on behalf of Albany County Executive Dan McCoy. Thank you for the invitation. I'd like to start just by reiterating the thanks to Ibero American Action League. We've worked very closely, been a vital community partner that uplifts and empowers Latinos in the underserved in our community, and we appreciate your efforts here in Albany County. You've been an incredible partner, as I mentioned, generally with the resettlement of asylum seekers and finding them stable housing, especially through the state MRAP program. And this luncheon is an important opportunity for us to discuss the latest challenges and trends faced by immigrants and migrants and asylum seekers in our communities across upstate. In Albany County, we really have tried to embrace our diversity and work to find solutions to issues so we can succeed together as one community. And that's why the county executive and our team, including Josh and others, have worked to assist and support immigrants and asylum seekers within the county. In 2016, way back in 2016, we actually launched the Albany Regional Immigration Center to provide immigration legal support, assistance, and training to improve the quality of mandated legal representation immigrant clients in criminal and family court cases. And that was a very early foray into this world for us. The center was the first of its kind in New York and assists attorneys across a 14-county section of upstate New York. So even though it's centered in Albany County, the region that we serve is very large, stretches all the way up from our southern border in Albany County up to the Canadian border, well outside of Albany County's borders. We also recently awarded several grants to community organizations for immigrant support services. $100,000 to the Refugee Welcome Corporation to provide safe and affordable housing to low-income families in the West Hill neighborhood of Albany, the city of Albany. This initiative focuses mostly on newly arriving refugees and immigrant families from across the world: Afghanistan, Myanmar, Latin America, Sudan, and many others. We also recently allocated $150,000 to RISE, the Refugee Immigrant Support Services of MNS Incorporated, for their work in workforce development, job readiness, transportation, English language learning, and other services that assist those who are new to our community. And finally, we have awarded $300,000 to Capital District Latinos to expand their comprehensive program focused on improving food access and addressing behavioral health challenges and things of that nature. On top of that, I'm proud to say that our Department of Health has been key resource since some folks have newly arrived to our community. We've held several clinics. 3 were COVID related, flu related. We've assisted with tuberculosis screening, and other public health needs for those who have newly arrived in our community. So that with that, I'll kind of conclude. I'll say we must continue to work together to help those seeking opportunity in our country. And I certainly hope that everybody on the call on the Zoom today gets a lot out of today's discussion and presentation. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you so much, Mike, for joining us today. And I know we just had Assembly Member Sarah join us. I'm trying to look for her and see. Sarah, if you're here, you can unmute and join. Okay. All right. We'll keep going along and bring Sarah in. So I want to take a moment to introduce our keynote speaker, who actually sent us a recording all the way from Paris, where he's enjoying his time on vacation. But Cristobal Ramón is the Senior Advisor on Immigration for UnidosUS Immigration Project, where he leads the organization's immigration research and policy analysis work and support its legislative policy goals. He has served as an immigration policy consultant to organizations such as Migration Policy Institute, the George W. Bush Institute, the Episcopal Church Office of Government Relations, and the President's Alliance on Higher Education and Immigration. He previously worked for the Immigration Project at Bipartisan Policy Center. Mr. Ramón is a graduate of Macalester College and Masters of Arts in International Affairs program at the George Washington University's Elliott School of International Affairs, where he focused on comparative U.S. immigration policy. In addition, he researched Spain's immigration policy at the Universidad Carlos III de Madrid. For those of you guys who don't know, Ibero is a proud affiliate member of UnidosUS. UnidosUS is a nonprofit, nonpartisan organization that serves as the largest Hispanic civil rights advocacy organization since its foundation in 1968. They have contributed to a stronger America by elevating the voices of Latinos and defending and advancing our community's concern. I get the great pleasure of serving as the co-chair for the Northeast Affiliate Council. Actually, after we wrap up today, I get to leave and join CEOs from across the nation that lead organizations like Ibero in Philadelphia. And it is one of the most validating experiences that I have getting together with other leaders and learning how they're facing these challenges in other states and in other communities. I am very grateful to be a resident of New York State. I do get to hear a lot of the awful experiences that some of our partners are having, and UnidosUS is critical to coaching us and guiding us to make sure that we stay focused on the work that needs to be done. So we'll hear from Cristobal, who will share a keynote with us on immigration.
Hi, my name is Chris Ramón. I'm the Senior Advisor on Immigration Issues for UnidosUS, the country's largest Latino civil rights organization. So the purpose of this conversation is just to sort of give you a sense of 4 issues that I think are important for understanding immigration in the United States and our immigration policy challenges. One is kind of thinking through what is the actual impact of immigrants and immigration on the United States. The second one is what are challenges facing our immigration system today, and what are some ways that you can fix them? Thirdly, where do Latinos actually stand on these issues? And finally, where does my organization, which has focused on immigration issues for decades, what are key priorities for ensuring that those interests, those priorities for Latinos is actually reflected in the debates and discussions here in Washington, D.C. So right now where we are is, a pretty challenging time when it comes to immigration, but not an unprecedented one. Through our country's history, we've actually had various waves of intense public debate, sometimes anti-immigrant sentiment against immigrants who are coming here. And we are going through one of these periods right now, particularly as it relates to what's happening at the US-Mexico border. And I kind of want to start off by thinking through, well, what is the actual impact of immigration on the United States? Because we are hearing a lot, obviously, what's happening in Springfield about Haitian immigrants, but many of them actually contributing to the city's economy, filling in job shortages there, hearing a lot about the impact of immigrants who are being bused to cities and taking up local resources. The question is, what does this actually show? And I think the key here to take away from this is that immigrants, by and large, actually are a positive impact on the US economy. When you're thinking about this, for instance, there's two studies that I think are important that I think highlight this. One is a 2016 study from the National Academy of Sciences that basically produced what we in the business think as sort of the gold standard study on the impact of immigrants on the economy. And what it found is really that there isn't that much impact on wages of native-born workers, particularly negative ones, that in the long run, the US economy actually benefits because you're filling in labor shortages and you're increasing productivity. And generally, that's important for the country's economic growth. And this past summer, the Congressional Budget Office that does a lot of economic forecasting for members of Congress for the Hill here in DC came out with a really great study kind of assessing what the current, well, in their words, current surge of migrants, what the impact is going to be between 2024 and 2034. And what's important there is that they found that the current set of arrivals that we're dealing with right now, in the long run, over the next 10 years, will actually contribute $7.8 trillion to the US economy, and will basically allow the GDP, the gross domestic product, to grow by 0.2%, largely because you have an increase in population, but you're also basically bringing in individuals that can improve the country's productivity. It's also worth noting, because we're talking a lot about, local sources, that, when you're looking at the fiscal impacts of immigrants, certainly I think that can always be a challenge. But the thing is, in reality, particularly when it comes to federal coffers, that immigrants do contribute a lot more than people think. And this CBO study that I'm talking about actually had some projections. And so over the next 10-year period, basically a lot of the immigrants who are coming here, who are already here, are going to be contributing $788 billion in taxes. It is worth noting that the study did say that, basically providing services for the children and education will basically cost $177 billion. But in the long run, it's actually, pretty good for the country that you're going to have this contribution to the tax base as well. That isn't going to give you the final word on this part of the debate, but certainly I think it does point to that immigration is good for the country, both for economy and for its tax bases. So the thing is then, the question then is, what's broken about the immigration system if things actually benefit from immigrants coming here? And I think what's important to understand is that we actually have not updated our immigration laws in a very long time, but it's important to kind of correct the record, because you do hear a lot that 1986 was the last time we did immigration reform. That's just flat out wrong. It's just inaccurate. In reality, when you look at the history of immigration bills between basically 1980 up until the year 2000, Congress is really active on immigration legislation. It's done both immigration reforms, it's changed the immigration system in 1986, in 1990, and in 1996, and relief, which is basically giving legal status and an opportunity to go for a green card to the undocumented in 1986, as well as two laws that were passed in the 1990s or the late 1990s as well. So certainly 1986 isn't the final word on it, but it's important for me to point out the 1990. That is really important, because that's the last time we reformed our legal migration system. The last time we actually reformed the rules to come into this country, not only if you're being sponsored by a family member, but also by your employer, the opportunity to come here and work. Think about where our immigration system was designed and well, at least the legal migration system was formed in 1990. Think about where the job market was at that time. Think about your own experiences or your parents' experiences trying to find jobs that period and what the assumptions were about the labor market, and think about now. That's how outdated the rules for entering the country are. And this is really important because the thing is, if we don't have a modern employment-based or family-based system, we're not able to basically adjust to the realities of the needs of our job market. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what does this have to do with the border? Well, the thing is that in reality, a lot of people who are coming to the border and entering through a path known as parole, a lot of them are actually coming in and they're being admitted legally. But a lot of the people who are also coming in seeking asylum, some of them are viable asylum seekers, but some of them are individuals who maybe just simply want a better economic opportunity and they have no other way of coming through to the United States to be able to come and get a work permit. So the thing is that if we can reform our legal immigration system, and certainly I'll talk about border policy in a little bit, but certainly updating our legal immigration system so it adjusts to where the job market are and where the demands for employment is for workers and so forth from employers. That really is sort of what needs to be fixed, because then you can create viable alternatives coming to the border. Legal migration reform is essential to actually addressing our border challenges. So the thing is, that's what's broken. That's really the core thing that it comes down to. But then the question is, well, where are Latinos landing though on these issues? Where's the emphasis? And I think when you look at the polling, it also fleshes out a little bit more in terms of what they're looking at. I haven't talked about immigration relief for the undocumented, and our polling consistently shows that is top item for them. The top priority for lawmakers is to provide relief for the long residing undocumented. That is without a doubt our priority. And even if you look at broader polling, even right now, where you're kind of seeing a little bit more anti-immigrant sentiment, there still is strong, very strong support for legalizing the undocumented. So that is a priority for the Latino community. It's actually pretty much a set consensus for the American public writ large. So that's one thing where Latinos want. They want relief for the long residing undocumented. But, you know, there's other concerns as well. And I think we've done polling recently on where Latinos land on the border and what the kind of policies that they want. And we describe it as they want an approach that's firm, fair, and free of cruelty. Firm, they want us to be able to address the bad actors that are operating at Mexico and across the US-Mexico border, like drug traffickers, human smugglers. They want increased border patrol funding. They want us to be able to address these security threats. But the thing is, they also want fairness. They want to ensure that people have a legitimate fair shot at entering the country legally, and that people who are long residing undocumented individuals can actually get relief. Actually, our polls show that Latinos view relief for the undocumented as essential to border policy. But it's also important to know that free of cruelty, this is important because when people think Latinos are firm on the border, or at least the poll shows that, they think they're in favor of mass deportations or they're in favor of border walls. Yet our polling over the last year has shown that building the border wall and mass deportations, when you're looking at it among different options and asking Latinos, which ones do you prioritize the most? Those were not top priorities. They in fact never rose beyond the bottom third priorities in our polling. And I'm happy to send around links to show this, but this is really important that there is a dividing line. Cruelty is a dividing line, and Latinos are not going to cross that when it comes to our border policy. And finally, it's important to note that our polling also shows that Latinos want other countries to work with the United States to receive asylum seekers, and they want them to step up, including offering and protection in their territories and working with the United States to set up in-region processing so people can seek asylum in the United States, but applying closer to home. So that's where Latinos are on the issues. And I think that where things are moving forward. So for us as an organization, where are we putting our energy? Well, again, relief is our North Star and will continue to be our North Star. We continue to work with our allies in Congress and finding new offices to work with to advocate for including relief in immigration bills. It's really important to ensure that this is always going to be a priority, because fundamentally at the end of the day, only Congress can really pass a comprehensive, widespread bill that provides relief for the long residing undocumented. It is true that presidents may have authorities to be able to actually also provide this pathway. And in addition to basically helping create DACA program for individuals who came as undocumented folks, as children, we've also been, obviously supportive of the Biden program provides a path to a green card for undocumented spouses of U.S. citizens. Unfortunately, that program is caught up in litigation, much like the DACA program. So we're not sure about its future, but certainly that is a route that we're willing to work on. Beyond this, I think that we are now engaging in the border debate. We came out with a border plan in August that encapsulates a lot of the positions that I described for fair, free of cruelty. And we are definitely going to be engaging in those conversations moving forward. Obviously, you've been hearing a lot about the Senate bipartisan bill. Certainly, we were not supportive of it. But the thing is, you always have to go talk to folks and see if there's opportunities, change it in a way that makes more sense and aligns with your values. So we're going to be involved in those conversations. We're going to go in there and we're going to have the tough talks, and we'll see what we can do. Finally, there are other areas that we're going to keep looking forward on. Legal services for immigrants is really important, or part of our portfolio. And it's important that people actually get the legal services to navigate the immigration system. So that way they feel supported. That way they feel like they know what their options are, whether they're new arrivals, trying to make sense of how they're going to get a work permit, or long residing undocumented folks who actually might have a route to getting a green card. 2 million individuals could actually get green cards if you had better legal services. Think about that. So that is something else that we're doing this. Now, obviously, we have an election on the horizon. There's a lot of things that we talk about there. And I think it's best actually not to speculate at this point, but it's important to note that regardless, whatever happens, we're going to be very much staying true to our values, the values of our community, the priorities of our community, and we're going to be there, and we're going to ensure that they are represented, irrespective of whatever happens. Because for us, the Latino community deserves to have a voice in immigration issues, and that's what we'll continue to do and have done over the last few decades. So thank you so much for the opportunity to give this presentation. I apologize for not being there in person, but I certainly welcome feedback, responses. You're free to email me at cramon@unidosus.org. Certainly feel free to ask me any questions. Happy to provide you with resources and happy to be of use however I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cristobal, for this important information. Since 1990, there has not been a reform in our immigration system, really talking about the economic value that immigrants bring to our country. And we couldn't emphasize enough the importance of legal services. Really, this needs to be our priority to help our families move forward. So now we get the great pleasure to hear live here in our virtual luncheon from our very own, from our community, Cassandra Bocanegra. Cassandra Bocanegra is the Senior Manager of Organizing and Strategy for the Finger Lakes from the New York State Immigration Coalition. She was raised in Monterrey, Nuevo León, Mexico. And Cassie immigrated with her family here to Rochester in 1999, where she has worked and supported farm workers and immigrant rights in the Finger Lake region. Prior to the NYIC, she worked in outreach and education with the Worker Justice Center of New York, visiting and supporting farm workers across the state. Cassandra was a founding member of the Greater Rochester Coalition of Immigrant Justice, bringing together local organizations to uplift the continued need for immigrant justice work. As a member of Kids for College, she provides mentorship to other first-generation college students in Finger Lakes community. She attended Our Lady of Mercy High School and graduated from SUNY Geneseo with a bachelor's in international relations and minor in philosophy and women and gender studies. Currently, she is focused on the NYS campaign aim to include and support immigrant communities in New York State. Before I bring Cassandra off mute and into the camera, I just want to thank her personally for being such a great partner of Ibero, for helping us and educating us along the way as we led this great effort of relocating migrants from New York City here to Rochester, New York, and Albany County. Welcome, Cassandra. I'll ask you to come off camera and share your keynote.
Thank you so much, Angie. I'm a great partner because I have great partners, and it's an honor and a pleasure and a privilege to work with Ibero through everything that you do. Good afternoon, everyone. As the wonderful introduction just said, my name is Cassandra Bocanegra. I am the Senior Manager of Organizing and Strategy for the Finger Lakes region with the New York Immigration Coalition. But more important than that, I am the child of immigrants. And I am truly appreciative of the opportunity to join you all today and to participate in this year's State of the Latinx Community virtual luncheon. A little bit about the work that I do in the New York Immigration Coalition is the Immigration Coalition is an umbrella policy and advocacy organization that represents over 200 immigrant and refugee rights groups throughout New York State. We serve one of the largest and most diverse newcomer populations in the US, and the New York immigration membership base includes grassroots and nonprofit community organizations, religious and academic institutions, labor union, as well as legal and socioeconomic justice organizations. We were established as a forum for immigrant groups to voice their concerns and provide a platform for collective action to drive positive social change. Since we were founded in 1987, the NYIC has evolved into a powerful voice of advocacy by spearheading innovative policies, promoting and protecting the rights of immigrant communities, improving newcomer access to services, developing leadership and capacity, and expanding civic participation while mobilizing member groups to respond to the fluctuating needs of immigrant communities. The NYIC advocates for laws and policies to improve the lives of immigrants and all New Yorkers, particularly those who live in lower income communities. Our work spans a wide variety of policy areas, including, but not limited to, low-cost immigration legal services, immigrant access to vital health services, immigration enforcement and incarceration reform, strengthening immigrant language access, immigrant workers' rights, and improving immigrant access to educational resources like family welcome centers, English language learners classes, and academic scholarships. I apologize if I'm a little cold. I'm starting to feel the autumn chill. I did want to start with what happened in 2023. So in 2023, New York State did witness a new wave of immigration that included a heightened amount of media attention due to southern states busing recent arrivals to cities like New York. We saw that families came to the United States and then to New York State specifically to seek better opportunities. They were escaping violence and hardships in their home countries. And with this most recent wave of immigration, it was not just a statistic. It represented real people with dreams and aspirations. When buses started arriving in New York City, my colleagues based in New York City worked with member organizations like Africana, Mixteca, and the New Immigrant Community Empowerment Organization to ensure that new arrivals really did receive the dignity and respect that they deserve. Here in Monroe County, NYIC, along with members and partner organizations like the Rochester Rapid Response Network, the Worker Justice Center of New York, the Western New York Coalition of Farm Worker Serving Agencies, Refugees Helping Refugees, the Finger Lakes Community Health Clinics, and especially Ibero, worked together to welcome families as they arrived, often in the middle of the night, and to provide support as they navigated the challenges of coming to a new space with limited language access. Being able to participate in welcoming nights on a personal level, and to be a part of the process to support and encourage the dream of arriving in the US with safety and opportunity for their children was truly a sight to be held. All of these organizations came together and really put their all while continuing to do the work that they do every single day. In addition to the high-profile busing that occurred, the Finger Lakes region has always been and continues to be a place that receives new arrivals, even if they didn't come through the busing system, from communities like Afghanistan, other Latino communities, and African communities as well. Each of these families and individuals brings with them unique experience and contributes to the enrichment of our state. Being a child of immigrants and seeing these new families reminded of what life was like as the new immigrant family in 1999, when my family and I arrived in Rochester. Some things have remained the same, like St. Michael's Church still being a place of welcome and a haven, but other things have improved and become much better. As a child, I remember our family struggling to find resources for legal services, health services, and even language access in many local agencies. But things are so much different now and so much better to a certain degree. When families arrive in Rochester, Ibero, Western New York Coalition, Refugees Helping Refugees supported new arrivals with case management. There's been an increase of funding for legal services that's allowed for organizations like the Legal Aid Society of Rochester, Just Cause, and Journey's End refugee services to be able to support a lot of these new clients. While this is still not enough, we are closing the gap slowly but surely. Advocates and immigrant community members in New York are working tirelessly to pass different laws and have passed amazing legislation such as the Green Light Law that allows all New Yorkers, regardless of status, access to a driver's license within the New York State. In this moment of new arrivals, of heightened media oversight, the New York Immigration Coalition, along with and especially due to our member organizations, has been able to lead on various projects to support newcomers, including immigration legal service clinics to ensure that everyone is supported through the complicated and confusing immigration court realm. Through these clinics, NYC and its members organizations have been able to complete hundreds of applications for new arrivals. In Rochester, the Legal Aid Society, Just Cause, and Journey's End have led to ensure that clients are aware of the process and have the support needed for their case as much as possible. We have been able to support folks in obtaining their work permits, beginning their immigration process, and other areas. In Monroe County, the Worker Justice Center of New York continues to provide Know Your Rights workshops focused on worker rights and obtaining a license. We've been able to provide general immigrant rights, Know Your Rights workshops, and the Western New York Coalition of Farm Worker Serving Agencies and Refugees Helping Refugees has led on topic-specific workshops, such as what different agencies can do and how to navigate the ever-changing immigration system. Our goal is to integrate immigrants into society by providing education, job training, and access to essential service. Collaboration with our member organizations and partner organizations allows us to support a smoother transition for immigrants, ensuring that they feel welcomed and supported. While organizations and communities have risen to the occasion and supported communities time and time again, it's important to acknowledge the increased challenges that immigrant communities are facing. Our communities are being targeted, and they're being used as political fodder once again. We have seen the negative narrative and misinformation that continues to be spread about immigrants. We've seen how these narratives can negatively impact not only immigrant communities, but communities of color through the fear and increased division that we are experiencing. As advocates, we have responded by mobilizing our communities, providing real, proven solutions, providing resources, and standing in solidarity against xenophobia. We've seen incredible examples of resilience and community support, showing that together we can combat these negative challenges. And more than anything, we need to ensure that we maintain the needs of immigrant communities and communities of color at the forefront. We've seen how the lack of inclusivity can be detrimental and can cost people their lives. Just 2 years ago, we lost a community member in Buffalo due to lack of language access. This community member was not aware of the risk of venturing out during a horrible blizzard because it was not in a language that he could understand, and that cost him his life. Advocates fought long and hard to ensure that that didn't happen again at both the local and the state level. And I'm honored to state that on October 10th, advocates in Erie County were able to see the passage of the Erie County Language Access Bill that allows for increased language access to communities. This country and our communities have provided us with opportunities, and we cannot move forward unless we have equality and support at the state level through increased policy to support our immigrant communities. I've talked a lot about advocacy, and I want to talk about some of the specific things that we can do, some of the specific solutions that we can really advocate for. The New York Immigration Coalition leads on many different campaigns, and I know from my own experience that coming to a new country as an immigrant is a challenge. Through our advocacy, we aim to make this challenge much smaller. Families who arrive have a deep need for language access to be able to access the DMV, school information, and other resources. They need legal support to navigate the immigration process. If anyone's ever gone through it, you know how complicated and nuanced it is. And they need opportunities and safety to be able to live and contribute freely to the communities that they're in. We advocate for these needs through the Language Access Expansion Act, the Access to Representation Act, and the New York for All Act. The New York Immigration Coalition will continue to advocate for accessible language that reflects the rich diversity of our state. Clear communication in preferred languages is vital in ensuring that everyone understands their rights and available resources. People should be able to live independently, and the Language Access Expansion Act can ensure that not only language access is more accessible, its accessibility is done in a way that is equitable to different communities in New York State. Secondly, we need increased legal funding to provide long-term support for immigrant communities. Everyone deserves access to legal assistance, and we need advocates, and we must advocate for more resources in this area. In last year's legislative budget, advocates were able to secure $65.4 million for legal services in New York State, which is a historic high. This will allow legal service providers to have more resources to assist a greater number of clients and cut down on the time to be seen by an attorney. And while this is amazing, we know that it's not enough. We know that we need to continue advocating for $150 million for immigration legal services at the state level and for the passage of the Access to Representation Act. The Access to the Representation Act aims to build long-term stability in New York's immigration legal services, supporting strong communities and fostering economic stability. The ARA, as it's colloquially called, establishes a right to universal representation, meaning anyone at the risk of deportation who cannot afford an attorney will be provided one. Immigration court is a lengthy, complicated process, and oftentimes families and individuals are not able to support themselves through the process alone. $150 million would support not only our immigrant communities, but also the service providers as well to ensure that clients are holistically supported. Latinos are one of the largest voting groups in the US. We have a powerful voice that we can use, and I urge all of us to engage in our civic duties, not just at the federal level, but at the local and state as well. We need to speak up and vote for what matters and for the type of future we as Latinos would like to see in New York State. We are welcoming not only in our speech, but also in our policies. We can ensure that we support our communities. Please make sure to contact your local representatives at all levels of government and express your support for immigrant-friendly policies. Participation in community events, whether it's calling your representatives, marching for causes that matter, or simply talking about these issues to your family and friends, is more than enough. Every action counts, and together we can make a difference. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cassandra. And we'll be sure to share a lot of the great advocacy information that Cassie shared with us today. We'll make sure we'll send it along as a follow-up to our virtual luncheon today. So now we're gonna hear firsthand one of the stories of the many families that we get to serve. I'm gonna do a quick overview of some data from our program. But right now, let's hear the story about Vanessa Jimenez, and I hope that her story touches your heart the same way that it did mine. Jessica, the video should be next. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm way ahead of myself. So before we go to the video with Vanessa, I want to tell you a little bit about, go back. You can go back if that was the next slide. So the Migrant Relocation Program is a partnership from the New York State Office of Temporary Disability Assistance in New York City. It was established to help newly arrived families seeking asylum and other eligible families to relocate from New York City shelters into permanent housing in welcoming areas of the state. The program was designed to support housing expenses with limited basic assistance for up to a year helping families relocate to 5 different counties throughout upstate New York. And those counties were Albany, Erie, Monroe, Suffolk, and Westchester. In 2023, Ibero was awarded with the state grant to provide relocation assistance, not just to Monroe County, but also to Albany County, with the charge of relocating 400 families during the contract period. To date, we have relocated 262 families between the 2 counties, and we have been operating this program for less than 12 months. Next slide. Some of the reasons why we raised our hand to say presente has already kind of been spoken about by Cristobal and also by Cassie, and for us, it was very similar. Here at Ibero, our work is about uplifting, empowering, and advocating for Latinos, and that is not driven by their immigration status. So it was obvious that as the largest dual language agency outside of New York City, we will raise our hand and say presente. And our vision is to advance social progress and inclusion for Latinos in New York State by the end of the decade. And for us, coming into this work of relocating families to upstate was critical in achieving our vision. And it's also part of our identity, is really who we are. And over the past 6 years during my time with Ibero, I've gotten the opportunity to lead in various different ways, in various different crises, transforming ourselves, watching my institution transform itself over and over again to serve the needs of our community. So now we'll watch this video from Vanessa, who shares with us her story about how she made it to Rochester, New York.
Mi nombre es Vanessa Jiménez. Estamos en la ciudad de Rochester con mi esposo, mi hija y pues mi bebé. Tengo 35 años, venimos todos de Colombia. Y bueno, excepto Owen, que nació aquí en Rochester.
¿Por qué te emociona?
Y bueno, es una mezcla de emociones, nervios, agradecimiento, es todo eso. Nadie se toma el tiempo para escucharlo a uno, preguntar cómo está, cómo ha evolucionado, qué fue lo que pasó. Son pocas las personas que le dan la oportunidad a uno para eso.
Gracias por compartir esto con nosotros. Cuéntanos un poco de cómo ha sido este proceso. Vamos a empezar por la parte positiva.
Sí,
Okay.
está bien.
¿Cómo ha sido tu relación con Ibero? ¿Cuál ha sido el impacto que ha tenido el programa MRAP en tu vida y en la de tu familia? ¿Qué has encontrado?
Yo creo que para todos solo hay una palabra y con eso lo abarca todo lo que ha sido Ibero para nuestra vida y el programa ha sido espectacular y excelente. Solo tengo palabras de agradecimiento para Ibero, para la directora que fue la que primero nos acogió sin haber nacido Owen. Ella me vio embarazada. Bueno, no se me notaba el embarazo, pero ella dijo, ese bebé va a tener casa al nacer. Y ella me lo prometió y así fue. Daisy conmigo ha sido una mujer espectacular.
Okay. Bueno, vamos a empezar por el principio. It's already there. ¿Por qué decidiste venir a Estados Unidos?
Bueno, para nadie es un secreto que en mi país la guerra está desatada. Hubo un problema que a la final nos tomamos la decisión de irnos y es que la guerrilla mató a los padres de mi esposo. Ellos fueron mutilados, se encontraron mutilados totalmente en una finca. Allá en las fincas pagan vacunas a la guerrilla. Con esos fondos ellos se mantienen donde compran armamento y muchas cosas y a raíz de eso ellos se mantienen de la plata del pueblo para poder subsistir o tener sus cosas. Resulta que ellos no pudieron pagar esa plata y lo que hicieron fue matarlos en la finca donde estaban. Mi esposo entabló la denuncia ante los medios de comunicación, la policía y todas las entidades pertinentes, y es cuando él empieza a recibir amenazas. Y no podíamos estar tranquilos, nos tocó irnos.
¿Cómo era?
Bueno, nosotros llegamos por vuelo, fue a México, después a Tijuana, y de ahí por medio de unas personas en México que no conocíamos, pero tocó pagarles mucho dinero, nos pasaron la frontera a Estados Unidos, por San Diego, California.
Y de San Diego a Rochester.
Bueno, de ahí nos entregamos a migración. Nuestro pensado era llegar a Canadá. Nunca en nuestros planes estaba llegar a Estados Unidos. No pasó así. De San Diego pudimos conseguir los vuelos a Nueva York. De Nueva York llegamos a Canadá, nos entregamos a la frontera. Resulta que en esos días de marzo del 2023 había salido una ley donde la frontera estaba cerrada, no dejaban pasar a los inmigrantes, y resulta que nos devolvieron a Nueva York. Ya sin nada, sin ningún recurso, sin dinero, fuimos a buscar refugio. Nos dieron la información para poder llegar a un shelter, inscribirnos y estar ahí por unos días mientras resolvíamos nuestro tema económico. Entonces empieza uno a escuchar a muchas personas donde hay beneficios, donde están dando cosas, donde están beneficiando a la persona que llegó, y nos dan la opción de inscribirnos en un programa. Cuando yo me inscribo, el programa de NRAP nadie lo conocía, no era el fuerte en la ciudad, en Nueva York nadie lo conocía. Sin embargo, yo me inscribí y eran poquitas personas las que asistían, y entre esas fui seleccionada para este beneficio. Sí.
Y entonces de allá vienes a Rochester.
De ahí no, me llaman así de un momento a otro, me dicen, alista sus maletas porque toda su familia se va mañana, los esperamos en tal dirección. Efectivamente alistamos todo, llegamos, incierto, totalmente incierto lo que nos esperaba, aunque el programa sí le explica a uno muy bien. Antes de llegar acá a Rochester, lo sientan a uno en unas salas, proyectan el programa de lo que va a hacer, de los beneficios que tiene. En ningún momento dicen está obligado a asistir, está obligado a que tiene que ser así, sino esto es lo que hay, le gusta, si le gusta hay una carpeta, firme los documentos, y de ahí para allá nosotros nos hacemos responsables del resto. Pero eso es lo que hay, lo que les podemos ofrecer. Entonces, uno firma las carpetas, dan 3 opciones en ese momento. Estaba Rochester, estaba Buffalo, si no me equivoco, y había otra que es Albany. Estaban esas 3. Y cualquiera de las 3 me podían enviar. Entonces, sin embargo, yo no sabía para dónde me enviaban ni nada de eso. Y me dijeron, alista maletas que arranca para Rochester. No conocía nada de Rochester. Y así fue, nos trajeron en tren, nos dejaron en el Hotel Holiday. Y ahí estuvimos aproximadamente 3 semanas. 3 semanas cuando ya Ibero se hace cargo de nosotros y nos asignan casa.
A las 3 semanas te asignaron casa.
Sí, fue muy rápido.
Gracias a Ibero.
Gracias a Ibero.
¿Qué otros servicios entonces?
Bueno, Ibero, a partir de eso, ellos nos ayudan con el tema de transporte, nos entregan tarjetas para buses, inician un tema de formación que es para clases de inglés. Aparte, empiezan con el apoyo para uno poder conseguir la licencia de conducción, los permisos de trabajo. Ellos tienen convenios con las compañías de abogados, entonces muchos nos ayudaban con la orientación para poder asistir a los permisos de trabajo, la solicitud de asilo, si no se tenía realizado, pues estaba algún documento pendiente. Entonces ellos empiezan con esa asistencia para colaborarnos. El tema de salud para mí fue primordial con Owen. Yo tenía todos los controles en Manhattan, pero cuando llego acá no sabía qué hacer, no sabía de seguro médico, no sabía si me cubría. Daisy, la directora, me ayuda, y gracias a Dios, pues Owen nació en el Highland, una atención especial que yo creo que ni en mi país lo hubiera recibido, porque no fue así. Y entonces, ¿qué pasó, vida? ¿Qué pasó? Y fue una atención espectacular desde el momento que yo entré a ese hospital hasta el momento que salí, todo el nacimiento de Owen, entonces no me puedo quejar.
¿En qué fecha llegaste?
El 8 de diciembre,
Del 2023.
sí,
Y hoy estamos
a 3 de octubre,
del 2024.
sí.
En menos de un año, ¿cómo ha cambiado tu vida?
Bueno, el cambio ha sido drástico, pero drástico para bien. Drástico, pero para bien porque hemos conseguido muchas cosas, aparte de que tenemos un hogar para vivir. En ningún momento estuvimos desprotegidos en la ciudad porque no fue así y sería malo quejarme y decir mentiras porque en ningún momento estuvimos desprotegidos. Siempre recibimos ayuda, siempre recibimos esos beneficios, pero llegar acá y encontrar el calor de hogar, donde mis hijos tengan su espacio, donde poder prepararles comida, ha sido indispensable.
¿Tu esposo está trabajando?
Él, actualmente no tenemos papeles. Hemos tenido muchos inconvenientes con el tema de las cortes porque han venido muy seguidas. Pues lastimosamente nuestro proceso ha sido diferente al de todos. Otros procesos los dejan a un año, les entregan papeles, pero nosotros hemos tenido las cortes tan seguido que nuestro reloj para, avanza, lo devuelven y pues no hemos recibido documentos actualmente. Ahorita nuestro respaldo económico totalmente y al 100% es Ibero.
Pero ¿cuál es tu deseo? ¿Cuáles son tus planes? ¿Cómo ves a tu familia en los próximos 3 o 5 años?
Bueno, es un desafío muy grande y es una responsabilidad la que se nos viene encima, pero yo espero que después de la última corte que tengamos, donde gracias a Dios vamos a asistir con abogados y con todas las pruebas que tenemos, nos den el asilo. Y yo sé que va a ser así, nos van a dar el asilo y pues dentro de 5 años yo veo a mi hija en una universidad, veo a mi hija en una universidad, mi esposo con sus papeles trabajando, al igual que yo trabajando también. Obviamente dominar el inglés al 100%, yo sé que es algo a futuro, pero espero que lo dominemos en algún momento el idioma.
Y para tus hijos, la invitación, ¿qué sueños tenían ustedes para ti, para tu esposo?
Bueno, yo creo que todo padre, el sueño es poder darle a nuestros hijos lo que nunca tuvimos. Y es poder darle estudio, estabilidad económica, estabilidad emocional. Consideramos seguir juntos, preservar la familia, que es lo más importante en esto, porque uno solo aquí no es nada, pero nosotros deseamos continuar juntos y salir adelante. Darles mucho amor.
Gracias.
Gracias por invitarme.
Hello, everyone, again. I know we're coming close to the end and we're going to recognize our awardees pretty soon, so I'll ask you to bear with us. Hopefully, Vanessa's story has touched your heart. It is very important to put a human face and a human perspective to the many lives that we get to impact and change. So a real quick overview. Today, we have relocated 272 families between both of the counties. That translates into 1,054 individuals, of which 545 of them are adult and 509 of them are children. Most of our work really involves children, and I know that's sometimes a little bit different in the narrative we hear, but it's one of the most profounding experiences that I've had in this effort the past year and a half, is watch those 509 children be integrated into our community and their resiliency after all of the different things that they've experienced as they journeyed to the United States. In the next slide, you'll see some of the work. You know, I like to say they are chasing the American dream. Our families are working hard and they're full of hope, as you can hear. You hear that from Vanessa, even despite her family being massacred in her country of origin. She comes to the United States full of hope. And we have the great pleasure of graduating our first 2 cohorts The first families moved in early September and October. Was the first time that we were able to actually relocate families into their homes. All of those 32 families have now graduated from the program, with 97% of them being self-sufficient and working and being able to sustain their housing. So this is a work that we're very proud of. Over 348 of the adults in our program have employment authorizations, and about 62% of them are working adults that are striving and working towards self-sufficiency. So a lot of great accomplishment, and I want to thank my teams, both here in Monroe County and Albany, for the amazing heroic work that they get to lead every day in their communities. In the next slide, I would just want to talk about how these families have taken advantage of every single program that Ibero offers. We have worked closely with our community partners to ensure employment and education opportunities, and these are just some of the few folks that we get to work in here in Monroe County. And then I know we have to get to our special recognition, but I'll remind you guys that a great way to donate and contribute to our work, there's the QR code, is by joining Corazón de Ibero Leadership Giving Society. It requires a commitment of $1,000 a year for a 3-year period to work up close and personal with some of the work that we get to do today and lead in our community. The next slide, Jessica. But now let's move from this great work and some of these amazing stories that we heard about our new arrival to recognizing these 3 exceptional women this year that are receiving the awards. They are dedicated family pillars, loving wives, devoting mothers, cherished grandmothers, and their remarkable contributions to our community through volunteering, consistency, efficiencies, and tireless dedication that have made a profound impact to all of us in our community. So our first awardee is our very own Maria Sanchez. She is being recognized for this year's President's Award. And the President's Award is one that is given to one employee each year for their outstanding and excellent work and commitment and contribution to Ibero and the community at large. Maria Esther Sanchez is one of Ibero's longest tenured employees with over 30 years of service. She has been the foundation of Ibero American Development Corporation and has served as the executive assistant to many of Ibero's CEOs and executive leaders. Maria Esther is a proud Chilean who has dedicated her work life to Ibero. She started with us at the age of 18 and in 1980, and was trained by, nonetheless, one of our other awards, Alicia Torres. She worked with previous executive directors that included Domingo Garcia, Pablo H., Julio Vasquez, Domingo Serrano, and she continues to be the right hand at the Development Corporation to our very own Eugenio Marlin. Maria exemplifies confidentiality and discretion, and her exceptional efficiency and collaborative spirit have established her as a trusted and invaluable member of our team. As Eugenio Marlin says, you can think out loud in her presence and with confidence. Today, we are proud to acknowledge her loyalty, contribution, and outstanding work. I'm going to ask Maria to get off camera so we can see her beautiful face and maybe quickly share a word. She's shy. I don't know if you guys watched the video, but she almost had a full-blown panic attack when I gave her the award. But let's all kind of put up our hands and give her a virtual clap for her and Maria, for Maria. Our next awardee is our very own Yesenia Ramos Torres. I get the great pleasure of recognizing her this year as our Alicia Torres Award recipient. This prestigious honor that recognizes an individual who demonstrates a lifelong dedication to the development and well-being of Latinos and others in Rochester and the surrounding region. This award is in memory of Alicia Torres, who I mentioned before. Maria Esther Sanchez got the great pleasure to work under, Alicia worked behind the scenes to support individuals, organizations, community activities, and the mission of Ibero American Action League, all in the background, never looking for recognition, never giving herself all the credit that she well deserves. So today, Ms. Torres is honored by this recognition, and we recognize people who, similar to Alicia Torres, are remaining quiet but visible in our community and the work that they do. So this year's recipient is Yesenia Torres. Yesenia is the embodiment of volunteering. She is someone with deep roots in the Rochester Latino community who has always put the needs of her community first. Yesenia has been part of the development and foundation of several Latino groups, making meaningful connections and supporting community events and fundraising throughout our community. She currently serves at the Puerto Rican Festival, the Rochester Hispanic Heritage Committee, one of our very own DJ volunteers at Poder 97 from the beginning, and the Hispanic Business Association. Yesenia's community actions through volunteerism over the past 20 years of engagement is something that we can truly be proud of. So I will welcome Yesenia to come off camera and share a few words with us as we recognize her with the Alicia Torres Award.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You can hear me, correct? Good. Okay, so I just wanted to wish everyone a good afternoon. I am really deeply honored to receive the Alicia Torres Award from the Ibero American Action League. This moment is truly special, and I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to Ibero for this recognition. But I would be remiss if I didn't thank my husband for nominating me for this recognition. He really gets to share in all of this as well, because he's not only my #1 cheerleader, but often he's there volunteering right alongside with me. And as Angie mentioned, I am currently on air on Wednesdays. I'm going to give a shameless plug of En El Medio Media Show Wednesdays, 6 to 8 on Poder 97.1. But my husband is our sports producer. So he gets to kind of chime in and give us all the sport tidbits that I get to share on air, which is awesome. I want to take a moment to honor the legacy of Alicia Torres. Her commitment and long life dedication to the development and well-being of Puerto Ricans and other Latinos in the city of Rochester is the foundation for the work we continue to do today. And this award in her name reminds us of the importance of always giving of our time unselfishly to the community and to groups that we like to serve. To my family and friends and colleagues, thank you very much for your unwavering support and your encouragement. And your faith is what keeps us together and can help us achieve together and make a difference in our community. And finally, to Ibero American Action League, thank you so much for your tireless efforts to promote justice and equality in our community. Your mission resonates deeply with me, and I look forward to continuing this shared work to create meaningful change. Thank you again for this honor. I'm profoundly grateful, and I'm determined more than ever to carry this torch forward.
Thank you so much, Yesenia. Well, we got your beautiful awards back here that will make their way to you. Great recognition. Our last person to be recognized today, but not least, is our very own Maria Delgado. So Maria Delgado is being recognized for our Unsung Hero Award, who recognizes someone who has positively influenced, supported, and partnered to uplift the mission of Ibero from behind the scenes. This year's awardee, Maria Delgado, is no stranger to any of us in our community, whether it's partnering with Ibero, doing her thing for Hurricane Maria, her long-lasting work with the migrant population. I mean, so much more. If you just Google Maria Delgado, you'll see her face in several articles of the DNC and all the great work that she does. Maria is about getting things done. She is the community resource advocate at the Cancer Support Community at Gilda's Club of Rochester. Maria, believe it or not, is a part of the Ibero family at heart. Her office every Wednesday can be found at the main entrance of our Community Resource Center, where she makes sure she greets everyone who walks in and educates them about cancer screening. When her sister Yvette was diagnosed with breast cancer, Maria, in her usual form, kicked into high gear and created what I believe is now, and I'm going to proclaim, the largest and most active group of Latino cancer survivors in Monroe County and probably our region. She has provided resources to our community and support in Spanish, and her mission has been to educate Latinos about the importance of early screening and has reached thousands of people in our community. Maria has served on numerous advisory councils which have covered topics as nutrition, education, instruction for farm worker population. And I am so proud to know someone like Maria, who every day selflessly gives to others in their worst moments. So not only is she going to educate you about cancer screening, advocacy, and community resources, but if you know Maria, you know she's picking you up in her car and she's making sure that you get there and that you're getting the services that you deserve. So join me to recognize our unsung hero, Maria Delgado, and I will ask her to come off camera and share a few words with us.
Can you all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you. Maria.
Okay. I'm going to talk really fast because I do want to get through this. I had a whole other thing written up, but I'm going to read this really quickly here because I know we're short on time. I'm deeply honored to receive this award of recognition it represents. Thank you, Angelica, for those kind words. A heartfelt thank you to Ibero for all the work that you continue to do with this population. Thank you to all the partners that are here that I've collaborated with. Thank you for always standing ready to support and encourage me. But in reality, this award is not for me. It's for the millions of immigrants that are in the United States today. I strive to educate those that need to understand the barriers and challenges of immigrants whenever and wherever I am. Now with Cancer Support Community, my advocacy is used to provide important cancer screening information for this population as well. Immigrants, they leave their countries to come to this land of the free because they have no choice. And they often arrive at our borders with deep traumatic experiences. Land of the free is really not meant for them. There are too many rules, too many regulations with a lot of limitations. Establishing a welcome workflow with dignity for the asylum seekers was essential when they arrived, and I was proud to be part of that team with Western New York Coalition. To those here today serving this population, I encourage you to speak even if your voice trembles. Speak about their fear, deportation, separation of family, language barriers, distrust in the legal system, exploitation, lack of transportation, financial stress, health inequities, isolation, racial profiling, discrimination, and trauma. May we all be unsung heroes. Again, I thank you all. I thank you. And I'm so humbled to receive this.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria. And we'll make sure to have your award there on Wednesdays. I do want to bring Maria Esther Sanchez on camera real quick if she's able to. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna once again thank our sponsors. You can go to the next slide and hand it over to Miguel for some closing remarks. You're muted, Miguel.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Well, I'll be incredibly brief. Today, you've heard the stories of our people, of our community. You've heard the impact of immigration policy. the stories of people seeking new opportunities, the work of Ibero and our partners, and the important role we play locally as a sanctuary city here in Rochester and in communities across the state of New York. I'd like to thank all the staff here at Ibero and your families for your significant commitments and sacrifices to those we serve, and acknowledge all of those who received awards today. Ibero is able to effectively adapt and serve because of the frontline staff and the key volunteers in our community that commit to this work every day. As the Latino community enters another fight on the national stage, it is important that everyone pays attention and exercises their right to vote. We have important choices ahead of us, and we are an important voice that needs to be heard on the national stage. I'd like to again thank each of our sponsors, ESL Federal Credit Union, Wegmans, Trillium Health, Climate Solutions Accelerator, Excelis, Visions Federal Credit Union, WXXI, and Poder 97.1. Another special shout out to our restaurant partners. If you already had lunch plans, no worries. The promo code will work all day. You can order online or visit with the promo code in person for 10% off. And thank you for joining us today and doing your part to support and embrace families here in Rochester and all across New York State. Please consider making a contribution to the important work we are doing by visiting ibero.org. You can scroll down the page to the Donate Now button on the main page or join Corazón de Ibero Leadership Giving Circle at the top of the page. Thank you and enjoy this beautiful fall afternoon.